You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show.
The Joe Cronin Show.
On YouTube.
You know, recently we had some news come out, Jim, about Rich Swann and some kind of, a domestic issue or an issue happening, and he may be, suspended from WWE indefinitely. He may not come back, depending on what's going on with the news and the facts in the case. When stuff like that happens now, it's so much different than I think back in the day. A lot of times, what was the difference if something like this were to happen in 1998 or versus nowadays? Is it something where they would monitor it to see what happened, or how much attention was the company paying to domestic issues like this back then?
Well, we were paying attention to every issue of that regard, and we were also we paid attention with those situations. If you have an arrest of any kind, you had to address it, and certainly things were different. But any arrest has got to be addressed. I would say, I don't know Rich Swann. I know I've watched his work. He's very talented. I am a no tolerance person regarding domestic abuse. No place for it. No excuse for it. A man should never strike a woman, and vice versa, quite frankly. But I would probably, the only thing I would say is that I would not disconnect from the talent. I would not have done that. I would not let him be on an island by himself. I would keep in communication with him, because you want to, if he's lost a little bit, the best thing that can happen is that he finds himself and he rights his wrongs, and has a productive life. Whether he can have it with the company or not would remain to be seen. But I certainly would not leave him on an island alone. I'm sure he's not. Hopefully somebody's communicating with him, because it's not as if he, committed a murder. And I'm not downgrading whatsoever domestic abuse, but you got to stay connected with a guy, and I think you got to keep encouraging him to get better. And if he has an issue, let's get it fixed, and then let's take it from there. But whether he works for them or not, I'm sure the company is concerned about his welfare and his future, and they will make the right decision. But if it comes out that he's guilty, it's just going to be hard to get him back on the roster, especially in today's climate, which I agree with, quite frankly. I think that we're all this. Hey, boy, now's not the right time to be accused of something like that. So I wish him the best, and his wife. I think I met her one time. Nice lady, nice young lady, wrestler. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, she's. Hopefully, wish them the best, but. You can't tolerate it. We should never tolerate it. But in today's world, with it's so the rawness of it, you just can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. You should never have ignored it. And I don't think we would have ignored it. But it's a heightened sense of awareness now for matters like that.
Would you think WWE would continue to help him if he did have an issue going forward after, even if they fired him or he got? I know that recently Justin Credible was helped, and that's different. That's a recovery thing. But is this something that they'll look at as trying to get help for, even if they let him go as well?
Well, anger management, Joe, is like getting rehab for a drug or alcohol issue. It's still an issue that can be addressed, most likely can be amended and solved, but you can't leave those guys out there on an island and desert them. At least that's my take on it. I'm a human that's made plenty of mistakes. You read my book, Slobber Knocker, you see a lot of them in there. So, but I learned from those situations. I learned from them, and I got up and I got my ass knocked down, which is many, many times. Then I got back up, and I think you got to give the guy a helping hand to get back up and correct his wrongs. That's how I would say it. But WWE has helped a lot of guys that have been long since gone from the company with their alumnus. And I think they helped Jeff Jarrett with his recent alcohol rehab,
right.
And others, which I think is a good thing. I mean, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and I think that they'll do the same thing with Rich Swann. If he needs anger management, if he needs some sort of counseling, I would venture to say, I'm guessing now, that they'll be right there for him.
You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show.
The Joe Cronin Show.
On YouTube.
Don't miss Jim Ross, December 16th, 2017, this weekend at Laugh Boston in Boston, Massachusetts. VIP tickets are still available, and tickets will also be sold at the door. Doors for VIP purchases are at 1 p.m., and doors for general admission at 2:30 p.m., and the show begins at 3 p.m. General is $30, VIP $75. It's Laugh Boston. Jim Ross. Don't miss it this Saturday, December 16th.